Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Kikowani Station mission from Halo 3 ODST on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing the NMPD HQ mission from Halo 3 ODST. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Romeo is a total dick.
He is a dick. Last mission, Oni Alpha Site. Dutch and Mickey helped to defend the super secrets held within Oni's Alpha Site by blowing it to smithereens. They tried their best to repel the Covenant forces from overtaking the building, but after being overwhelmed on multiple occasions, Mickey made the executive decision to destroy the building along with all the information that the Covenant could use against humanity. Before the explosion, the two are picked up by a New Mombasa police Pelican and head to rendezvous with Buck and Romeo. This mission, Buck and Romeo climb to the NMPD headquarters rooftops in order to be picked up by that Pelican that just saved Dutch and Mickey. However, the Pelican gets shot down, like they all do. Now stranded half a mile above the city, Buck and Romeo race to the crash site in order to reunite with their ODST squad mates. The date of the game is October 20th, 2552, 1914 hours. We are going to be playing as as Romeo, and hanging out with Buck 3 hours after drop. But before we get there, we got to get there. So we are now back in Rookie's shoes, and we see the smoking building. And we didn't talk about, if I'm recalling correctly in the last episode, like the Oni Alpha Site thing. Like, Oni is there for a reason, and we've kind of already talked about the portal at some point during this series. But Oni's here because they found some interesting things in this area. So that's why that building is there, Oni being the super secret agency that does weird things. So that building is now destroyed, and you can soak in the skybox one last time if you want to. Go ahead and do that. But now we got to head the other direction, back where we came from, because that supply cache unlocked.
Yes.
And so once you kind of work your way back out through that tunnel, we got some phantoms dropping off, some jetpack brutes again. Jackal snipers are on the rooftops. I started killing. It's fun. I probably just realized I was doing it during right now, or whatever. But do you try to shoot down the brutes as they're kind of jetpacking around? I feel like that's kind of fun to do, especially if they're like jetpacking right at you. You can shoot them, and then like their momentum will take them flying past you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The cache. So the cache there is one right in front of you, and what's inside?
Mongoose!
Mongoose.
Yes.
There's two of them.
It was like a hallelujah moment when that cache opened. It was like the light of heaven flowed through me. I was just so happy.
Yeah, because were you just sick of trudging around the
Yeah,
city?
that meant that I could literally just ignore all the enemies and go straight to the beacons now, super fast.
Yep. I was having some fun with the mongoose, and I was trying to run everybody over, because they are pretty durable, and you can get shot a bunch and like get flipped over and flip back over on its wheels, and so I was just trying to run people over. I don't know. David, do you have fun with it, or do you just kind of cruise?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned before, I had already all of them, in fact, unlocked when I started to play them. So as soon as I could, I grabbed the mongoose, just kind of zip around.
Right.
But I did have some fun. I did come across some hunters when I was traveling between beacons, so of course I tried to crash into them. And
Were there two of them?
Yeah,
there was only one for me. One was dead.
I can't remember. I remember, yeah, maybe, because I only killed one, and then I just moved on. So maybe the other one might have been already dead. I'm not sure. But I definitely crashed in, and it's fun because they like turtle up as soon as you kind of come against you. And like you don't hurt them, I don't think, by ramming them with a mongoose. But it was cool just to see them react to like you hurtling at them at full speed.
So you weren't able to kill him either? Because I tried.
Not
just
with
to
the
run
mongoose,
him over.
I don't think. No.
I think I
only
was
tried
able to,
once.
I was able to. I was like, so when you get to that encounter, one of the hunters must be dead. It must be canonically dead. Hearing that it was dead for you too. So there's probably some story somewhere that we can find out about that other hunter. But the one is in that, it's like a roundabout thing with a little gazebo. We've seen these things, in this city already. But I was just racing around that gazebo, zooming around for like 5-10 minutes, trying to just ram him. And I think I did knock off some of his armor, but he eventually killed himself. So he was in the center. So I was just like trying to track him by racing my mongoose around, and he got into the center. And I think there were some brutes and some grunts that show up eventually too, just a small little detachment of them. So they're kind of in the mix as well. But the hunter kind of got caught in the middle in the gazebo, and he must have been like firing at me, and his splash damage hit one of the pillars in that gazebo and killed him.
That's funny.
Like, all right, that worked out pretty well. So yeah, we're now kind of get the shackles taken off, I guess, now that we have a mongoose, if you didn't already. So you can just kind of cruise around to the next spot. You don't really have to do many of the encounters. The one thing you do have to do is you still have to get off the mongoose to open the door.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying, but what can you do? There is another thing. I have my notes here, and it's after you get the mongoose, but before the hunters there's the Destiny Easter egg. We haven't talked about that yet, have we?
I think they removed them. Which Destiny Easter egg? Are you talking about the posters?
Yeah, there's posters. So I think it was one of the previous missions, when the mission where you find the Goss turret in that hallway there is where you see the sign. So the sign now in MCC, it just says "for her."
Yeah,
and a picture of Earth.
Mm-hmm. But then
they're these posters you could have seen at the very start of the game. They're all over the place.
They're all over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they've all been removed now for MCC. But they did say was it something your destiny awaits? Is that what it said?
Yeah, and it had like the orb of the traveler or something like that. It was so cool. I loved when people like Destiny came out and people were like, oh, I recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
It was super cool.
So that means they were at least concepting Destiny. This was what, 2009? Is that what we talked about?
Oh yeah, because you would think that at this point they only had Halo Reach left. So at this point they probably were already talking about giving the keys over to 343 Industries in some respect, I would think.
Yeah.
Because these things take years to plan. So I mean,
for sure. Yeah, like concept. Like we talk about like 3-year development cycles as kind of being the normal. But I'm sure there's concepting that's done before that, before they should start to do any coding.
Yeah, and if you think about it, like 3-year development cycles are for games that usually it's a sequel to a game, not a brand new game that you have to build the engine, you have to build the lore, you have to build the story. I think that takes a lot longer, but we really don't know the development times for those just because they kind of just appear and just grace us with their beauty.
Yeah, and you can find out more. I mean, we're no experts on that, but you can probably find out more by listening to developer interviews and all that sort of stuff, or piecing things together. But it's a really cool Easter egg that you can't find unless you have the original disc, right? So you have to have the original ODST game.
You have to throw it into a 360.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it backwards compatible?
I think it's backwards compatible. That's an interesting question.
I don't know.
Is the actual disc, or I would think that they would want to sell it on Master Chief Collection, so they wouldn't make it backwards compatible, but maybe I'm wrong.
They'd force you through MCC somehow.
Yeah, you gotta pay the $5 to get it. Yeah, it's like...
Right.
I don't know, I forget.
So yeah, not a whole lot of other interesting things, I think, to find in between here and the beacon. I mean, there are a lot of brutes around. I might have seen a chieftain at one point, but... Again, I was trying to run people over, so I was trying to...
Just like an hour of you just trying to run people over with the mongoose.
Yeah, it was good. I was just determined. I was like, okay, I got to try to kill this hunter. It did not work.
You like look at the jackals up on the rooftops. You're like, how do I get my mongoose up there?
That would be amazing. Find a
no one is safe from Colin.
No. Let's see here. I'm just looking through the rest of my notes. Yeah, I don't think there's any other thing interesting. I mean, this area of the city does look different because you unlocked this to get to the next beacon, so it's a little bit different. A little bit different encounters, but nothing too crazy. But you do eventually get to the beacon, and this beacon, I feel like the last beacon I had a little trouble finding. I don't know why, because it was just like the detonator was right on the ground. But this one is up high. It's hanging up in the like some power.
Yeah, this is a
lines.
weird one.
When I first played ODST, I could not find this.
Really?
I played all of ODST co-op the first time through, and I could not find this stupid beacon. We were like looking for 30 minutes. We're like, where is this thing? This one's
Right.
the worst one if you're not looking up.
Yeah,
And
because you hear the
usually-
pinging, right? You hear the pinging.
Yeah,
You're like
you
just
hear
probably
s-
standing right under it.
And it's just like so frustrating. Like, where is it? And Halo games don't tend to make you look up.
Right.
Like, that's just not something that Halo games usually. It's usually right in front of you or on the ground. So
But
it
you do
was
get when
super
you do get
frustrating.
close enough, it will just trigger the cutscene, right? Like once
no,
you
you
finally
have
get
to
it.
look. You have to look up and examine.
And then push
it.
the button.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
have to
to
be-
push.
Okay,
you have to be looking at it, so you have to find it.
gotcha.
That's really annoying. But once you find it once, you always know where it is. Like, I have never forgotten where that beacon is.
Right.
I will always be able to find it. But it's just
Yeah.
it was just super annoying the first time through, because most of the other ones are really easy to find. They're usually super big or super obvious where they are. But this one was just a pain.
Yeah. Yep. They do. I mean, that sniper rifle is bent to hell. Like
Oh,
it's in rough shape.
I like how the rookie even tries to bend it back.
Right.
It's like
He doesn't try super hard. He's just like, and then
He
gives
just like
up.
nudges it. And he's like, ah.
And like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna start using it? No.
Yeah.
I bent it back into place. It should work just fine,
Yeah.
right?
Fire straight.
It's the same thing. Like if you put your finger in the barrel of a gun, it can't fire. It's the same thing.
Totally.
You just bend it back. It works
Totally.
perfectly. Don't do that. Don't
do that.
Don't do that. It's not how that works. You will not have a finger anymore,
No. Or hand.
or hand, yeah,
Or hand. Yeah.
or life. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's
knows?
right in front of you, don't
Yeah.
Don't
just-
have your body around the barrel of a gun unless
Yeah.
you are pointing it at a target. Just in general, gun safety.
Thank you. Thank you for that PSA. So you find the sniper rifle, and then you start to hear Buck and Dutch's conversation from the end of last mission, and then you hear Buck kind of say, "Meet you at the top," which is kind of cool, and then Rookie looks up to the top of the skyscraper and is up ahead. Now we get to be in Romeo 3 hours after drop, and Romeo is a dick. So this initial cutscene, do you guys have it on top of your mind, Krista? Are you remembering the banter at all? Doesn't sound like it. David, you got anything?
Well, yeah, it's super funny. So pretty much the Phantom. Oh my God, no, the Pelican, if you will,
Yes,
is coming to
Pelican.
pick the guys up. It's a police Pelican, so it has police written all inside of it. It's coming in to pick you up, and then in the standard format of Halo, 2 Banshees show up and shoot it and shoot down the Pelican. There's a cool scene of the guys diving on the ground to not get hit by the Pelican. Romeo's back up and shooting off some sniper rounds at the Banshees, and doesn't hit anything. The Pelican crashes,
Yep, like
so-
it always does.
like it always does. So it crashes not too far away at another rooftop. So the guys are kind of okay, let's go. And what does Romeo say? God damn, I don't know what he says.
Romeo, I have a quote here from Romeo. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, what does he say to get Buck angry?
He says, "Give it up, Gunny. Even if he ain't dead, he's lost in that soup. Our comms can't cut through that." Oh, that's talking about
that's
that's
it,
talking
yeah.
about Rookie. They were talking about Rookie, but then after the crash, let's see here. More or less, is Romeo just saying like, let's just save ourselves, right? Like he doesn't
Yeah,
care about
pretty
anybody.
much.
Let's not deal with it, right?
So Buck just tells them to shut up and get ready, and they go run after the crash site to go meet up with their dudes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other thing he says too, but kind of after what the quote I just said about talking about Rookie, Buck says, "Oh, we should just give up then?" And then Romeo says, "Just saying, I ain't dead."
Yeah.
So yeah, he's an interesting character. More about that we've already mentioned in the Bad Blood and what's the other one? It's Bad Blood and
New Blood.
New Blood's first.
Old Blood.
New Blood. Yeah, Old Blood will be last, right? For sure. Unannounced book, but New Blood and Bad Blood. Check those out. Learn more about Romeo. Oh, and Romeo is also in we already talked about this, in the Helljumpers comic too.
Yeah.
He's also there, and his personality pretty much kind of carries through all sources. So yeah, now we are on the rooftops, which is kind of cool. At one point during this mission, I'm just gonna mention it now, but you're kind of looking up at the skyscrapers. You're not at the very top of the city, but you're way up there, and you do see some cranes around. I don't know, did you guys notice those? Kind of looking around, the cranes that are, there's cranes in a big city because they're building other buildings or fixing buildings, whatever. I did think it was weird that they were still standing though. And granted, they're there for aesthetics and just kind of to make you feel like you're in the top of the city. But like that blast.
I mean, after the big blast, yeah.
Yeah, like that blast probably knocked a bunch of stuff over. I mean, these buildings are still standing, obviously, but it could have been interesting to see, instead of them all standing up straight, to see some downed or some other graphic treatment there, maybe smoking or something. But
yeah, okay.
Anyway, so we are gonna kind of proceed through these the rooftops here, and let's see. I gave Buck the sniper rifle right away, just because I was like, what would David do in this situation?
I kept it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I kept the sniper in this mission. Yeah.
Krista,
I like it. I like it.
Oh hell yeah! I kept a sniper. You get a sniper and a pistol, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I kept that through the whole thing.
Very nice.
Love it when they give me a sniper.
So the initial kind of you got to find the encounter, but you proceed through an empty building right away, and there's these screens. Did you guys pay much attention to those monitors at all?
I didn't, but I looked up about them. So some of the display screens on this level show a seismic survey of the Great Rift Valley, authored by Daniel Enshida, who is Sadie's father. This is referenced in Sadie's story, in which her father tells Sadie about the unusual object discovered by Virgil below the region. So I didn't know that at all. That's pretty cool.
Okay. So that makes sense, right? I'll just mention it here again, portal, but there's some things happening below the city, which is interesting. One of the other screens it said Dare. If I sat there and stared at them, but there was like a Dare audio file that kind of flashed on the screen.
Oh, interesting.
Speaking of, the Oni agent that we haven't seen her for a while. And then there's some building schematics. So I didn't pay a ton of attention to that stuff, but it looks like, there's some more, like in all of Halo, there's some stuff to dig into if you really want to. Some little nuggets and some little threads if you want to kind of go down rabbit holes. Halo is great for that. Once you finally hop out of that building, get to the other side, then it's a little bit of a stealth area, I guess. Buck whispers that the Covenant haven't seen you yet, and you can take your target out. It's almost like a 1, 2, 3 shoot type thing. But then at that point, once you engage them, then everybody's coming after you. Do you guys? I think if you go far enough, you can't actually sneak up and take them out. I think you just have to it's giving you a free shot at one of the grunts or one of the brutes.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not stealthy at all. This is part of the game.
So there's grunts and brutes, and then there's a shade turret in the back, and then you actually can get down below. Krista, do you go down below, or do you kind of hang up top there?
I usually take all of the brutes out with my sniper, and then go down with my pistol and finish off everything else. Okay.
Because there are reinforcements that are dropped off on the other side of the building you can't see, but when you go down there, if you're quick enough, then you'll see some
you'll see some of the guys get dropped. I try to snipe a couple of them before going to the other area, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, I try and jump into shade turret and shoot across to the next area. I like doing
fun.
that a lot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, you can clear some out. I think if you go down below, at least for me, I was able to take the grunt out of there. I think it was a grunt in the shade turret from a distance, right when you get into that area. But when I went down below and did it again, then I think I had to take out the shade turret to get up. Or I probably didn't have to, but I did, and so I couldn't use it at that point. But this is a fun little interesting area here right away. I love the design of shade turrets. At least I'm reminding myself that I like them more and more. I think they're and we saw them in Reach just a little bit, but I don't know why. I haven't replayed all these games recently, so playing them again, it's like, oh yeah, these things are pretty cool. They're this little compartment for you to sit in versus just grabbing a gun and being completely open. Maybe it's a small little shield, but those concepts of those shade turrets are pretty cool. So then we're gonna, you clear out this area as we always do, and we kind of go off onto the next door. I mean, this climbing through these rooftops is just, you're kind of climbing, just proceeding through, doors, and it is a tunnel. It doesn't feel like a tunnel because you kind of reach an open area, and there's usually like one entrance to this off to the side that you get to go through, and then it opens back up. But there's like each encounter has maybe multiple ways to approach it, but then at the end, once you clear it out, then there's like one door that you have to go through. But I think it's a pretty good level design.
I like the rooftop fight. Mm-hmm. There's a cool segment coming up that I just thought was awesome. So like, I do love the little segments. They give you so much ammunition here. So there's plenty of sniper rifle ammo. There's plenty of other weapons you come across. Some caches that you can't miss. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of fun. There's some Covenant turrets set up, so I always break them and use them. They're great fun. There's some cool little set moments in this, and like that's like a sniper fight that comes up later on, which is pretty cool. Like there's a bunch of jackals with sniper rifles. So
jackets with sniper rifles. Oh no,
the worst kind.
The other interesting thing about this mission is, and I'll touch on it when we get there too, but is your buddies Dutch and Mickey are giving you kind of updates on what's going on along the way, and so if you're paying attention, they're just giving you little tidbits of information, like kind of why you're proceeding a certain way, why the tunnel's taking you this way. So the initial one from Dutch says that they're down on a rooftop northeast of their location, so it's just kind of giving you some initial, like, okay, here's where we gotta head. So we can continue to go through these buildings here. You do reach a room. There's like a lobby, and this lobby, I remember I was just doing some research for the show in general, and trying to follow more on Joseph Staten. Like, there is an interview of him talking about, like, as a writer, he writes, he creates this world, and then he's not on the day-to-day like coding side of things. I'm sure he does other things, but he kind of seems to do odd jobs along the way. So they apparently gave him the job of, like, in this one lobby there's like a dead Marine there, just kind of leaning up against the side of the desk, and so his job was to get, and maybe he made it his job, who knows, but his job was to like drop a Marine, like using their game engine. He couldn't like place the Marine in that way. He had to like drop him from above in order to then get him to like lean up against that. So there's there's a quote of him talking about some late night just dropping this Marine from above for hours trying to get it to look just right, and it's just for like this completely missable thing too. Like, you may notice it, but it's like it's just interesting to hear that perspective, and like how much time goes into like those little details that set this environment that someone could completely miss. But anyway, we proceed through this area and kind of load up here in this room with other ammo. But then once you get to the other side, that's where those jackals are on the balcony, and there's 2 or 3 balcony levels where jackals are shooting down at you, and then there's like a walkway up on the side. So ideally, if you have a long-range weapon, sounds like Krista always does in this mission, you can just do some headshots in this area. Is this kind of the cool area that you're talking about here, David?
Yeah, this is cool with all the jump pack brutes drop in, as well as jackal snipers. I think it's a cool combination of enemies, and there's a shade turret down the very back, so like some good kind of headshot moments to line up. So it's fun. I like this encounter.
I did pick up on Buck at some point. He goes scoreboard, just referring to him taking out potentially more Covenant than you do. So just that banter is always good. We continue to talk about it in these series, but keep your ears open, keep that volume cranked, because you do hear some good stuff. Let's see here. Oh, the other thing that I wrote 2 down. Buck at some point he says, they are more fun to fight than elites. So talking about the brutes, saying they're funny. Bigger and tougher, I guess. I mean, they don't always have the shield to deal with, but it's just a different kind of fight when you're dealing with brutes than with elites. So that was a good quote that I picked up on. Let's see here. Anything else here? There's the next area, I think, is where all those shield jackals are. If you guys remember opening that door, and then kind of up on the platform, there's just like 3 jackals that are just kind of fun shields to kind of pop in that little corner there. We've probably talked about this at some point, but I always feel like when you knock back a jackal by like hitting them in that little spot, and they kind of like they double back. I always feel like then when I shoot them in the head, like it doesn't always take right away. And maybe it's just my aim isn't perfect, but I feel like they double back a little bit and they open themselves up, and then I feel like I immediately hit them in the head, but it doesn't always register. So
yeah, me too. I feel that way too.
Okay, I've been having that problem with the jackal shields too.
So maybe that's like an animation that like the animation has to complete, and then once that completes, then the hitbox reappears or something. I don't know.
I don't know what it is. It's like, because we've gone through a lot of the different Halo games, and playing Halo 5 every once in a while and fighting jackals there. It's definitely a different mechanic than the other Halo games, because usually I'm like, hit him in the foot, hit him in the head pretty easily.
Okay.
But I've been having a lot of trouble with ODST, and I've just been like, have I lost my mojo? I'm like taking out an SMG or punching them now, because I'm usually really good with just hitting them in the head and stunning them.
That's good to hear, because I thought I was like bad at it.
I thought I lost.
Right.
I assumed
Halo
I just
skills.
sucked.
I'm like,
That's all. My
All right, this is our support group for killing jackals.
yeah.
In Halo 3, and I'm sure it's from a Halo 3 game engine thing.
Yeah, must be.
So yeah, good to know. All right, I'm glad we had this talk. All right, so I think is this the area then where you have the turret off onto the side then?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a tough little area on Legendary for sure. This encounter because you have the
chieftain
turret
up ahead with a turret as well. Oh, it's tough.
Yeah, so the chieftain, he comes out with the turret, is that right?
He does, yeah, and there's another turret that's actually on the tripod.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kind
of on that
Covenant equivalent of a tripod.
Yeah, on the stairs or whatever. But and this, I mean, it's a pretty big open area, so you do have multiple ways to approach it. I think what I ended up doing is just kind of bolting up the left side where that turret was, taking out the grunt that was manning it, and then tried to use that turret, to my advantage. Krista,
Same.
what do you do here? You're remembering?
Honestly, this is kind of how I do most of the situations when I have a sniper rifle. I think at this point I had a carbine and didn't have the pistol anymore, but I still use the carbine to take out grunts and jackals, use the sniper rifle to elite headshot brutes, or if I don't hit the headshot, their shields fall, and then I switch back to the carbine and shoot them in the head. That's what I usually do.
Yeah. David, you seem to like this area. What do you do? Anything different?
Almost the same as you. I run straight up the left-hand side, kill that grunt, grab that turret as soon as I can, and use that to take out as many of the brutes as possible while retreating backwards.
Yeah, because then the brutes then kind of flood out of that door at the top. And I think, I die along the way. I'm sure, I don't know. I think I probably died like kind of going up to that platform, and maybe, I don't know what happened, but I probably got shot down, and then I noticed the turret, and so that's probably when I was like, okay, this next time I'm just gonna race up the side, take that turret, and then use it. So it's a really good area here. The next area, then you head down some stairs. Excuse me. So after you kind of clear that area, close to the end anyway, is where the comms pop back on, and I'm not sure if it's Dutch or Mickey, but they say that they use one of the cranes to build a bridge to their location, which is super cool because you actually do get to go across that bridge eventually.
Oh,
that's
a
cool
scary
moment.
part, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Yep. So we kind of go through a couple more buildings here, and then you kind of reach the platform kind of down below. There's like a couple jackals or whatnot there that you got to clear up. But then you can see in the distance is this big platform. It's like a helicopter platform or something like that, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a helipad.
Mm-hmm. Super cool kind of set piece. And then you actually have to walk across this crane, and the crane starts to move a little bit.
Yeah, because
Yes,
banshees
it
fly
does.
by, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Buck actually fell off this for me that time. It was pretty funny. And he yells the whole way down. He goes, ah! And then spawns back up behind you.
You should have Xbox recorded that. We would link
I
it.
should have. Yeah, I didn't think of.
Oh, that's
Would've been
amazing. Bye,
good.
Buck. Looks like the game's over.
cool. Yeah.
That's
I
amazing.
had one of those turrets, the Covenant turrets, and I wasn't having any luck I feel like those are good for infantry, but they're not really good for banshees.
Yeah.
I was trying to fire them at banshees, but they just move. They move
Too fast.
awkwardly enough that it's hard because you have to lead them with that turret. Like that turret isn't like an immediate hit. So me trying to lead those banshees did not go well. But you eventually, I think I just ditched it at that point. Probably just threw it over the crane on the side, and then just proceeded through. And this area, this is one. There's lots of iconic scenes and moments, but this one in particular, this is amazing. This whole encounter.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, Krista, do you want to talk about it?
Sure. So once you get over the crane, you enter this area. It's leveled. There's a bottom level and then there's a top level. You make your way up to the top level, and there's some brutes and grunts, and then you see the beauty. You see this glorious thing just haloed in light, and it is this weird looking turret that's kind of looks like a big box slanted upward. You're like, what is this gift from God?
Yeah, right.
And then you get on it, and then you realize that it destroys flying things, and it also auto locks onto them. And you also realize that it has unlimited ammo, and you can just spam it as much as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's attached.
As long as it's attached. I get I'll jump off the edge and restart the encounter if the one I'm using gets popped off, because then it's like almost useless.
Right.
Because
it's like 10 shots or something like that after that. I don't know, but not many.
It's really dumb. So I'll restart the encounter just so I can spam it. But what this encounter is there's a bunch of phantoms dropping guys and a bunch of banshees.
Well, the Pelican's in the
around.
middle. It's like crashed in the middle, right?
Yeah. You meet up with your guys and some policemans, and there's
it's fun. Like this is a reuniting with your team moment, right? Like let's go. Like we're all here.
It's
a pivotal moment for ODST.
And there's some like Spartan lasers and some rocket launchers, and you're like, what kind of simpleton uses these? And then you get on your missile turret. But bunch of phantoms, a bunch of banshees. It's just this huge firefight, and it's just so cool watching the missiles like guide to the banshees, and they're like doing flips and stuff like that, trying to get to them. It's so much fun. I love this encounter.
Yeah, it's super cool. Do these missile turrets show up anywhere else? Like we haven't found them yet.
No, they're Halo 3. That's where they came from.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have seen them yet in ODST, but you'd be familiar with them from Halo 3.
Okay. So playing in chronological order, we haven't seen them yet.
There isn't as big of a they're not as highlighted in Halo 3 though, are they?
I don't know. There's a few moments you get them, but not as much. Like there's we're getting ahead of ourselves, but like the Scarab and stuff like that, you shoot them against the
well, at that point you're Master Chief and you don't really need them at that point. Like it's really cool being an ODST and using them, but Master Chief just looks at banshees and they explode. So
True.
Yeah. But this is a super cool moment for many reasons. Not only because you get to use this cool weapon that you've never used, and you get to blow up banshees and blow up phantoms.
Mm-hmm. You do.
I got the achievement for taking down 5 phantoms in this mission. I would imagine you guys did too, or if you hadn't already gotten it. But it's just so satisfying.
Yeah, it's just the overcharge sound and then the explosion. It's even more fun when you can get the phantoms before they even drop anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
the
love
best.
It.
That's the best.
It's just like this is one of those moments in ODST where it feels really good to play it. Like you always come out of this encounter like, yeah, I'm the best.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a couple moments. I think I grabbed there's a missile turret on the left side. I guess
there's one on each side,
yeah, the left side, and there are a couple. Sometimes there's a phantom that drops too far that you can't swivel all the way around. So you either have to, pop
quickly
off
move
it or whatever.
There's a bunch of missile turrets that aren't on a mount either, so you can just grab
They're just laying
one.
around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I didn't go. Is the Pelican open? I don't think I went in there.
I think the back is open. I don't think you can go in, but I think there's like a health pack in it or something.
Probably, yeah. That would make sense. Anything else from this? I mean, you reunite with your buddies, so you're finally all back together, which is super cool. And you're all like, in the moment that you reunite, it's not like a hey, how you doing? It's like, hey, we gotta defend ourselves. We gotta push back the Covenant. We gotta survive. So it's just a cool encounter.
All of the team reunions in Halo are less of touchy-feely moments and more of back to business moments.
Right.
Because there's a comic where it's a little ahead of us, but there's a comic where Blue Team get back together, and it's less of like a family reunion and more of like a what's the next mission kind of feel. So it's interesting how different the Marines and the Spartans act. Less of a friends meeting up and more of a like almost like a professionalism to it. Yeah, it's like let's go kick some more ass. Come on.
Right.
One kind of cool thing here, and the thing which is kind of cool to think about, really, the kind of the lore of what actually it is you're looking at. So the crashed police Pelican contains a ridiculous amount of large ordnance, turrets, cases, Spartan lasers, even racks of rocket launchers with spare ammo. How the NMPD obtained heavy weapons is unknown, although it's possible that the Pelican was carrying the munitions meant for the UNSC forces elsewhere in the city. Another possible explanation is that due to New Mombasa being incredibly valuable as one of Earth's 7 tether cities, the UNSC provided the NMPD with a large amount of weapons during the Battle of Earth. More pessimistically, the weapons were maybe an example of the extreme police militarization, or maybe a result of the police commissioner Kinsler's rampant corruption. So that's a character from Sadie's story. An external non-canon explanation may be that it's just the weapons are simply available for gameplay purposes. But I think it's cool to think about that it is ridiculous the amount of heavy weapons on this police Pelican.
Yeah. Very cool. There is a so I've been getting into Mega Constructs and Mega Plots.
Oh yeah,
there is a
you
set.
have.
There is a set that has a police Pelican in it.
Oh really?
Yeah. And yeah, so check that out if you're into like Lego.
How many heavy weapons does it come with?
Yeah, good question. I don't have it. I don't know if I'll get it, but it's just kind of cool. Like those types of sets will pop up every once in a while. And before I started collecting, I was like, why are there police stuff? But it's like, oh yeah, there's like this whole New Mombasa thing where it's not just the military, it's the police that are helping, defend the city. So anyway.
Do you make them for your just a little? Do you make them for your kids? Because when I was a kid and I was making Legos, I would like make the Lego and then it's like, okay, I'm never touching this ever again. I made it.
I feel like now that I have kids that are a little bit old, let's see, I have an almost 5-year-old. He's kind of enabled me to get back into it because I loved Legos growing up. Like I played with them until I was like 14. Like I loved them.
I just love putting them together. That's my favorite part. Just putting a huge Lego set together is great, and then I never use them ever.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like they're just display pieces for me. But my 5-year-old, like he will play with them, and I'm just like, don't lose that piece.
don't you break that thing in half.
Yeah, no, you need to play with it this way, not that way.
You just have to glue all the Legos down so they just like actually can't play with it. And
right.
Hey,
but it is fun to see his imagination.
That's what professionals do. They glue the Legos together so that their things don't break.
Boo.
Anyway, I'll be on a podcast Evolved at some point, and we'll talk about that stuff. But it's good fun. All right, so cutscene now this is an interesting cutscene because you get to see why that sniper rifle is bent to hell, but you get to see this battle between the chieftain, and the brute chieftain, and like your whole squad, all 4 of the ODST that are I guess they've been playing as so far. I think it's Buck that jumps on his back. Mm-hmm. Does that sound right? He pulls out the knife, right?
He was damn lucky that brute used the knife part of it instead of the gravity part.
Oh, Romeo?
Yeah, like he turns it around. It's like, I don't know why the brute decided to turn it around. It doesn't make much sense to me instead of just blowing him to smithereens, but he is so lucky.
Well, even that, just getting hit by one of those things, like, I don't know how Romeo's alive. Like, that thing just crushes. So.
And I would imagine they're extremely heavy, and brutes are really strong.
Yeah. They're like 9 feet tall. They're huge.
They're pretty beefcake. This, from the trivia, this cutscene is the first instance in a Halo game of a brute using the blade side of a gravity hammer. Okay. Although it's the first time it's ever seen occurs in Halo Landfall. Interesting enough, which is a live action trailer leading up to Halo 3.
That's right.
Likewise, this scene also is the first usage of a combat knife in any Halo game. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Right. The Edward Buck's stabbing of the chieftain in the neck may have also inspired the standard Spartan assassination to an elite in Halo Reach, which is also interesting.
About the stabbing, isn't there a part where they use a combat knife in Halo Reach?
This game is before Reach.
Okay.
Release order, yeah.
Okay, I thought they were saying in the overall universe. Okay, they're saying up to ODST. All right, that makes sense.
Release, development order.
Release,
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, this is a crazy cutscene. This cool battle where you just like it takes 4 ODSTs to take down that one chieftain. At least at close combat after Romeo goes down.
You also get to see the
tells you
scale
how
of the things
badass
too.
elites are. Exactly how big he is and how scaled compared to like a normal human.
Also, how is Buck not crushed under the thing? How does he not
that's
broken
right. He
like
falls on top of him.
Yeah, how is like a couple ribs not broken or something? Because those things probably weigh like 500 pounds or something.
Have you guys talked about ODST armor? I know you guys covered off on Spartan armor along the lines, but I'm not familiar enough with their
not
armor.
specifically. I don't think so.
Well, you would think the armor would be damaged or something, though. That's a lot of weight to put on one piece, and those pieces aren't really. They're not Mjolnir armor. It's just kind of regular body armor. I'm sure it can deflect bullets, but.
Yeah, but like, is there structural integrity to it that would help support that giant body?
There's just airbags.
Yeah.
The brute falls on him and he just poofs up.
So yeah, Romeo's still a dick, but he's in rough shape now. He is clinging on to life, and the rest of the squad is determined to save him.
Hit right in the lung too.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, so that's the mission. It's fun. I mean, there's so many good missions from this game, but this encounter is so good, so iconic.
Really cool. When I think of ODST, this definitely comes as one of the highlights of the game is this firefight on top of the roof.
Yeah, I mean, plus you mentioned it too. Is like finally seeing the cutscene is. I don't know if there's many cutscenes with brutes in them, at least that allow you to see the scale, like how big they are. And when you're kind of out fighting them, you don't really realize, because you're usually far away, how huge they are. It's hard to tell that from a first-person shooter, but they're huge.
And even when you're in first person right next to a brute, it's hard to get the scale when you are just in first-person camera view.
Yeah, unless like you try to like they give you mechanics to lay down next to them.
Yeah. It's like excuse me. Let me just get my ruler out here.
Yeah, David, anything to add before we close it?
No, this is awesome. I love this mission. It's a cool encounter. Great cutscene. I don't know. It would have been cool to be able to do what Brooke did in game, like to mount brutes from behind and just stab them. But I guess that mechanic didn't come into Halo yet, but you could see the roots of it here, so it's pretty cool.
Very cool. So then we cut back to Rookie, and he's back kind of staring at this sniper rifle, and he just kind of chucks it off to the side, and then now it's time to go find some more beacons. So we'll talk about that on the next episode. Let's cover off on our community question real quick. I think if you guys still have Discord and Facebook open. Yeah,
I got Discord.
Yeah. Sweet. So, Colin Perkins posted in the Facebook group, "Give me the best catchphrase to yell when blowing up a Covenant Phantom." We have Krista for Skyrim.
Very good.
We have Timothy Welch. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters.
That's good.
Didn't just get it because Covenant Ride vehicles called ghosts. Whatever.
Their Phantoms are called Phantoms. Phantoms are technically ghosts.
Yeah. If you want to, yeah, that's true. Josh says, "My gun's bigger than yours, a la Duke Nukem." You have Josh also following up, "And for Skyrim, wouldn't it be better instead of something showed ODST, it said in Sergeant Johnson, like Tone just took an arrow to the knee." It'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Brad said, "What's big, purple, and full of grunts? George is still dead."
Oof.
That's funny. Brad also follows up, "You'd think that by after the 6th one, they would learn not to hover over the one rooftop packed with missile pods, lasers, and rockets." That's pretty funny.
It's not really a catchphrase, but it's a good observation.
It's a good observation. That's it for
else?
Facebook.
Okay, cool. All right, anything on Discord? Anything
All right,
fun?
I got a couple things on Discord. Muffin says, "Time for sushi." Bigfoot 53 says, "Rocket pod beats everything."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I said, "Omaiwa mo shindeyu," and Bigfoot said, "Nani?"
Wait, what was yours? What is yours?
Omaiwa mo shindeyu. It means in Japanese. It's a meme. It's like it's an anime
like
meme.
A cat meme.
It's an anime. Yeah, it was. They did do it with cats, but it means you are already dead. It's from an anime.
Oh,
got it.
So, some guy named Aaron said, "Fuck, I was aiming for the Banshee."
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Matt Brosio said, "Honestly, probably something not appropriate." Very good. The one and only Shipmaster Ratas Vadum says, talk dirty to it. Halo Fanon says, you want a bigger boom boom? Brotherly Duck says, say my name. Big B says, hail to the king, baby. Goalie Sniper says, pew pew. And finally,
Ooh,
Physical Sky says, turning phantoms into ghosts since 2525.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good one, yeah. So that's all we got for Discord. Join the Discord and Facebook group so you can answer our questions and hear your name on the show.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I just had a huge grin on my face when it happened, just like that, just let that dopamine drip just go through my entire body, like, yes, I want another one.
Beautiful.
Do that again.
It's a drug.
Blowing up Phantom is just so cool.
It is. It's
Just when you're going from like not being able to do it to like blowing it up before it drops its troops, and it's just like it's so satisfying.
Yep.
I want to blow up a
After that
spirit.
denial.
Why haven't we blown up spirits yet?
It's impossible.
Impossible. They're a U shape, which means they're immune to
Yes.
bullets.
They absorb their bullets. I don't know.
Well, we only see those in CE, right? That's what we just talked about.
I think they started intermittently putting them in some of the later games.
They did bring them back.
Oh, they did. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't reach out them. Anyway, let's get out of here. Done with this.
Yay!
All right, that'll do it for a debriefing of NMPD HQ mission from Halo 3 ODST. On the next episode, we'll be covering Kikawani Station. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved!
Hooray!
Yay!
We did it.
We did it.
2 in the bag.